The Trump administration has dialed up the heat on tariffs, where the friends or foes, Washington is in no mood to spare anyone. As the trade war escalates, India, Russia and China are ramping up their responses, signaling a never-before-seen alignment of interests. Hours after the US president announced a 25% additional tariff on India for purchasing Russian oil, India's National Security Advisor Ajit Doval, who is on a visit to Moscow, announced that President Putin would visit India soon. Underlining the significance of the visit, NSA Doval remarked that India-Russia summit meetings have always produced watershed moments.
Very excited and delighted to learn about the visit of His Excellency the President of Russia, President Putin, to India. I think that the dates are almost finalized now. The more important thing is this, that is, these summit meetings have always been the watershed points. They have always given a new direction to our relations. What is there that we can add in substance in terms of deliverables for this talk? So I do hope that this meeting at this point of time will give us some new ideas and throw up some new things that we can make the forthcoming meeting more worthwhile.
Now, the timing of the announcement of Putin's visit is hard to miss. NSA Doval is already in Moscow, where he had high-level engagements with senior Russian officials. India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar is slated to visit Moscow next for a meeting of the Intergovernmental Commission that oversees trade between the two countries. Dr. S. Jaishankar's Moscow visit would soon be followed by Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to China, where he is expected to meet Chinese President Xi Jinping on the sidelines of the SCO summit. The issue of tariffs is likely to come up for discussion between the two leaders. This would be Prime Minister Modi's first visit to China since the 2020 Galwan clashes. This comes amid a rare show of support from Beijing on the question of US tariffs. Earlier, a Chinese embassy spokesperson quoted a recent editorial on X which argued that India's foreign policy choices cannot be manipulated by other countries. Even before the tariff war escalated, Global Times, the mouthpiece of the Chinese Communist Party, had argued in a July 14th piece that India-China could contribute to each other's success to realize the dragon-elephant tango. These developments come amid renewed efforts within BRICS to counter Trump's tariffs. Earlier, Brazilian President Lula da Silva had also hit out at the United States and called for a coordinated BRICS-wide response in an interview to news agency Reuters. Lula da Silva vowed to rally BRICS nations. In this backdrop, Putin's visit to India and New Delhi's renewed engagement with Beijing could signal a possible realignment and unity among Russia, China and India to counter Trump's tariff war. All right. Now, the Trump administration dialed up the heat on tariffs, where the friends or foes, Washington is in no mood to spare anyone. And as this trade war escalates, India, Russia and China are ramping up their responses, as I mentioned earlier, signaling an alignment of interests here. We were also joined by some of the experts earlier for more of their opinion on this. Let's just listen into that.
Yes, I think that the American position is quite ambivalent here, as they're trying to press all the countries which have, by the opinion of American president, so-called imbalanced trade with the United States, as United States actually could not earn more from trade with China or India, for instance. That is why Washington tries to press using some economic arguments. And of course, there are also some political arguments, and India and China are not in the American camp, in the Western camp, even not supporting Russia directly. India is cooperating very extensively and very significantly, which is rather unpleasant for the United States, who is trying to control all the dynamic of the foreign trade.
We have a very singularly bad incident of tariffs affecting that relationship at this point in time. But nothing is lost. We are going to still discuss in the last week of August The US delegation is coming to discuss the trade issues further, and we will be in a position to get something out of it. And I strongly believe that once the Ukraine-Russia war is over, I'm sure US is going to look into Russia through a different lens, and that will be the time when all these, Russian tariffs will go away. And meanwhile, we'll have to keep our head cool. We'll have to negotiate, taking into account our red lines, and see that, if there is necessity to offer a market with an accelerated tariff reduction, we should be in a position to do so. But take care of the red lines very, very clearly. Those are the areas where we will be never in a position to give up our interests.
Well, push is the word, because these three countries are not so much attracted together as being pushed together, because there is continuing rivalry for influence between India and China, not to mention the border disputes. There is also not 100% alignment of interest between Russia and China. But on the other hand, all three countries are suffering from Donald Trump's no-holds-bar tariffs and other sanctions and restrictions. So these Trump is trying to invoke the rules of the jungle in place of the so-called rule-based order.
For latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.